The mini-moto class has never been more interesting, and these two machines sit at opposite ends of it. The Navi is a cheap, twist-and-go runabout, while the Papio SS is a fared, geared café racer chasing a sportier crowd for barely more money. The Navi starts at a base price of $2,199 plus a $300 destination charge, putting most buyers around $2,499 out the door before tax and setup. The CFMoto Papio SS starts at $3,299, and dealer listings show freight and setup pushing real-world totals closer to $3,500 to $4,000. That $1,000+ gap matters in this segment, where buyers are often shopping on a tight budget or picking up a second or third bike for the garage. The Navi is priced almost like a toy, while the Papio SS asks to be taken more seriously as a genuine small motorcycle, not just a novelty scooter bike hybrid. Both bikes use air-cooled, single-cylinder engines in a similar displacement bracket, but they're tuned for very different jobs. The Navi's engine measures 109.2 cc's, fed by a small 16mm bore carburetor. Honda doesn't publish an official horsepower figure for the Navi, but independent testing has consistently put it around 7.8 horsepower at roughly 7,500 to 9,500 RPM, with about 6.6 pound-feet of torque at 5,500 RPM. The Papio SS uses a larger 126cc fuel-injected single that's rated at roughly 9 to 9.4 horsepower at 8,250 RPM and about 6.8 to 7 pound-feet of torque at 6,500 RPM. On paper and on the road, the CFMoto is the quicker, punchier machine, with noticeably more top-end pull once it's spinning past the Navi's comfort zone. The Navi's carbureted engine also keeps maintenance simple and inexpensive for owners who don't want to fuss with electronics, while the Papio SS's fuel injection trades a bit of mechanical simplicity for cleaner cold starts, more consistent throttle response, and easier tuning at altitude. The Navi uses a fully automatic V-Matic CVT with a centrifugal clutch, meaning there's no shifting at all. Twist the throttle and go, with electric start backed by a Kickstarter for peace of mind. The Papio SS, on the other hand, runs a proper 6-speed manual gearbox with a wet multi-plate clutch and chain final drive. Riders who want to learn clutch control or simply prefer rowing through gears will gravitate toward the CFMoto, while anyone who wants zero mechanical fuss will lean toward Honda. For brand new riders or anyone shopping for a low-stakes commuter, the Navi's twist-and-go simplicity removes an entire learning curve from the equation. For riders who already know how to ride or who see a small bike as a chance to sharpen shifting skills without the stakes of a full-size motorcycle, the Papio SS's manual gearbox is arguably the more rewarding, engaging setup day-to-day. Braking hardware favors the Papio SS by a wide margin. It uses a 220mm front disc and 190mm rear disc, both squeezed by hydraulic calipers with standard ABS, mounted on 12-inch aluminum wheels wrapped in cordial rubber. The Navi keeps things simple and inexpensive, with mechanical drum brakes front and rear, a 130mm unit on each end, with the rear drum doubling as a parking brake. Stopping power and feel go decisively to the CFMoto here, which matters more than it might seem given the Papio's higher top speed potential. Drum brakes are perfectly adequate at the low speeds the Navi is designed for, and they keep production costs down, but they can't match the fade resistance, modulation, or outright bite of the Papio's hydraulic disc setup, an important consideration for anyone who plans to ride more aggressively or in hillier terrain. The Navi runs a 26.8mm inverted telescopic fork up front with 3.9 inches of travel, and a single side-mounted rear shock offering 2.8 inches of travel, adequate for its low-speed, commuter-focused mission, with no adjustability at either end. The Papio SS also uses an inverted telescopic fork up front, though CFMoto doesn't publish exact travel figures, and it's non-adjustable, just like the Navi's. Where the Papio SS pulls ahead is out back. Its twin-sided swing arm carries a central monoshock with adjustable spring preload, giving owners at least some ability to dial in ride height and firmness for their weight or riding style, a small but real edge the Navi's fixed rear shock doesn't offer. Beyond the hardware, riding position tells its own story. Clip-on handlebars and a quarter fairing point toward a sportier, more committed stance versus the Navi's upright, relaxed, scooter-like ergonomics. Riders looking for canyon carving fun in miniature will likely prefer the CFMoto's more aggressive setup, while the Navi favors comfort and low-effort city riding. The Navi's upright bars and flat seating position also make it easier to keep an eye on traffic and stay comfortable over longer commutes, whereas the Papio SS's forward-leaning clip-ons put more weight on the wrists, a small price for sportier feedback through corners, but one worth noting for riders with back or wrist sensitivities. The Papio SS carries a curb weight of 251 pounds against the Navi's notably lighter 234 pounds, a 17-pound difference that's meaningful at this scale. Seat heights are nearly identical, 30.0 inches for the Navi versus 29.9 inches for the Papio SS, so both remain approachable for shorter riders or first-timers. Wheelbase differs more. The Navi stretches to 50.6 inches, while the Papio SS is a tighter 47.8 inches, suggesting quicker, flickier handling from the CFMoto in tight urban corners, at the cost of some outright stability at speed. The Navi's longer wheelbase and lighter overall mass make it feel especially planted and unintimidating at parking lot speeds, which is exactly the kind of confidence a first-time rider or a nervous passenger appreciates. The Navi leans into a rugged, slightly utilitarian, scooter-adjacent look with exposed bodywork sections and customizable panels that invite personalization. The Papio SS goes full retro sport, with a boxy fairing, dual-round LED headlights reminiscent of vintage two-stroke street bikes, and color-matched wheels that give it genuine cafe racer presence despite its tiny footprint. For riders who want their mini-moto to look like a shrunken sport bike rather than a glorified errand runner, the CFMoto styling is the bigger draw. The Navi, meanwhile, has built a cult following of its own for exactly the opposite reason. Its blank canvas bodywork has become a favorite among custom builders who strip it down and rebuild it into everything from beach cruisers to off-road minis, a kind of aftermarket culture the more finished Papio SS doesn't really invite. The Papio SS pairs an analog-style tachometer with an inset LCD panel showing speed, gear position, time, fuel level, and odometer, a more complete dashboard than most bikes in this price range offer. The Navi keeps its interface minimal, in true budget commuter fashion, prioritizing simplicity and low cost over a feature-rich display. Both bikes support accessory personalization, with Honda offering factory add-ons like a windscreen and rear rack, while CFMoto leans on its retro-styling hooks as the main draw rather than a deep accessory catalog. Neither bike ships with a full digital instrument cluster or connectivity features found on larger CFMoto and Honda models, which keeps costs down but is worth noting for buyers coming from more feature-heavy machines. For pure commuting simplicity, low running costs, and beginner-friendly operation, the Navi is hard to beat. No clutch, no shifting, a feather-light curb weight, and the lowest buy-in price in the class. The Papio SS asks a little more of its owner. A manual transmission to learn, a higher price of entry, and slightly more weight to manage at a stop, but rewards that extra effort with sportier performance, better brakes, and more distinctive looks. Both carry a 12-month limited warranty, so long-term coverage isn't a differentiator between them. Fuel efficiency also favors the Navi in daily use, thanks to its smaller engine and lighter overall package, while the Papio SS's larger engine and 6-speed gearbox means slightly more frequent fuel stops, but a wider usable rev range for varied riding conditions, from stop-and-go traffic to short highway stretches. Choosing between these two comes down to what kind of rider you are. If the priority is the cheapest possible way into two wheels, minimal mechanical complexity, and stress-free commuting, the Honda Navi remains the smarter buy. It's proven, affordable, and nearly impossible to get wrong. But if you want a bike that looks and rides like a genuine sport bike shrunk down to mini scale, with real gears, stronger brakes, and noticeably more punch, the CFMoto Papio SS is worth the extra money. For riders chasing pure ease and value, the Navi wins. For those chasing character and performance in a small package, the Papio SS takes it.